Hello, Beyond the Gates fans. Here to talk about the past two episodes of Beyond the Gates. So, the episodes from July 23rd and July 24th, or Wednesday and Thursday episodes. Two pretty solid episodes. Yesterday was probably a little more interesting to me than today's. It had more interesting stories overall. But we're going to talk about both of them. I think the main thing I got to talk about is the Eva and Thomas, that I like to call him because he's so damn boring and dry. The actor is anyway. Last time I made a video, I talked about Eva and Tomas kissing, and that's how Tuesday's episode ended. Yesterday, they pulled away from the kiss at first, but then Tomas is saying he really liked the kiss. They tried to play it off for a while, but then Tomas goes into detail about his and Kat's relationship and how Tomas tells Eva that he and Kat don't hit it off physically. So Eva's like, the sex isn't good. And then he's like, no, it's not happening at all. So Eva not only learns that Tomas and Kat haven't slept together, but is of course very surprised why Kat is a virgin. That Kat is a virgin. And I think that that's definitely should have. I think it did click in Eva's mind that maybe that's why Kat's so insufferable. I think that's why she's insufferable. She needs a release, to say the least. Anyway, Tomas then also at least tells her that they almost had sex, but he is the one that abstained because it felt like it was just a checklist for Kat, and there was all this pressure. And so he's feeling a little guilty for kissing Eva, but then Tomas tells Eva he doesn't know where he and Kat actually stand right now. And then he agrees to go back to Eva's hotel room to supposedly get a book. But there was all these undertones between Eva and Tomas that something more might happen in yesterday's episode. Which brings us to today's episode, where Eva couldn't find the book, allegedly, was also picking up some of her clothes, one of which was a bra, and then that led to them kissing again, and then they're making out on the bed, and at first Eva says, I don't want to stop. But then Eva does stop because she's thinking this is exactly what Kat thinks she would do, and she doesn't want to be the side girl, even though Tomas says he and Kat aren't exclusive. Eva does ask, does Kat know that they're not exclusive? And then Eva goes on this whole rant about how she wants to be the main character, she wants to be the hero, she's always someone's sister, daughter, evil daughter helping her evil mother, all this stuff, talking, the whole scenes between Tomas and Eva lately have been about how they both love books. So this was kind of like a way to, excuse the traffic, I'm still not home. It was kind of like a way to play into their scenes together. Anyway, Kat arrives, of course, which she's not happy to see Tomas in Eva's hotel room, and shouldn't be. Tomas says that he was just picking up a book, but he doesn't have a book in his hand. Kat says that he hasn't gotten what he came for yet, so he might as well. Well, she says she's gonna leave. He needs to stick around to get what he came for. So Kat leaves upset, and Eva's left with Tomas, and I'm glad Eva also gave it to Tomas today because she saw the look on Tomas's face when Kat walked in. He was saying that he and Kat aren't exclusive, but then he said he was just there to pick up a book. So Eva got to see some of Tomas's true intentions, that he did feel bad that Kat saw them together. Tomas's excuse was that he didn't want Kat to take it out on Eva, but Eva wasn't having it and pretty much kicked him out too. So Tomas was the big loser these past few episodes, which is fine by me. I don't like either of these women with Tomas. They both could have better people to have chemistry with on the show, which is what I've been begging for. Chemistry with these couples on Beyond the Gates. I mean, I have liked this triangle in the past 3 episodes, but the problem is it just could be so much better. It's what I've been saying this whole time. With a better actor playing Tomas, these scenes would actually be hitting very hard. Instead, they're just okay. Tomas and Eva making out in the bed, it wasn't bad. I mean, Eva, Amber, who plays Eva, she gives her scenes her all. And she has chemistry with a lot of people. She does have a spark with Tomas, but it's not enough for me. Um, Nonetheless, still one of the more interesting parts of the past two episodes. Going back to yesterday's episode, we had Leslie for the first time in what felt like a while. She showed up at Ted's with a scarf around her neck, apparently having a bruise from when Nicole attacked her and tried to choke her. Now, Jacob interrupts Nicole and Martin having a conversation. Well, I think it was Nicole and Kat having a conversation because she hadn't told Kat about what had happened to Martin yet and the truth about all that. Jacob was there on police business, questioning Nicole about attacking Leslie. Kat was surprised when her mother admitted to attacking Leslie, but Nicole was right when she said that Leslie's probably faking being bruised, and later in the episode, she did go to Leslie's and confront her and touch her neck to see that it was just makeup. I mean, this just made Jacob look dumb again as a cop. In typical soap opera fashion, these past several weeks, the main cop, Jacob, does not look like he's good at his job, even though he's supposed to be this by-the-book great cop. It hasn't been good for him with the writing as of late. It was good to see Leslie again, though. It was good to see Nicole also kind of get the upper hand on her about Leslie faking the bruising. But Nicole did attack Leslie. I mean, Leslie was able to get through to her, and Nicole did try to choke her. There was witnesses. One of the things for me is that this whole little storyline with Nicole attacking Leslie has been very out of character for Nicole, at least the way they built her up for so long as the calm one in the family. I feel like they maybe took it a little too over the top with her attacking Leslie, but I also think that, per usual, the Duprees are acting like Nicole would never do something so bad and nothing should happen to Nicole, even though there's witnesses that Nicole did try to choke Leslie. That alone would get Nicole in trouble in real life. So the writing shouldn't have gone there if they weren't going to actually make consequences for Nicole. And maybe sometimes I think this is what they want to do with the writing, is they make the Duprees kind of the bad guys and insufferable. Which brings me to today's episode with Nicole. So Martin goes to his mom, and he left out some of the details last time they had a conversation with the whole Kenny situation. He finally tells Nicole that Kenny came back trying to blackmail him, and they even was doing stuff with the kids, even though Nicole knew that part. And then he tells Nicole that Kenny ended up dead, that Elon and Marcel are involved in helping as well, which surprised Nicole. But then, she learns that the body in the park that was supposedly a robbery gone wrong, that was Kenny. And Martin tells Nicole that Vernon was in the dark too about what was happening, but Bill wasn't. So, of course, Nicole says this is all on Bill, which made me roll my eyes, not gonna lie. And then they had their little confrontation where Nicole arrives and cusses Bill out and says, you're a murderer. I liked Haley actually sticking up for Bill, even though, of course, per usual, Bill kicked Haley out of the room so that the adults could handle some business. But I liked Haley telling Nicole that she can finally see some resemblance to Nicole's sister, Danny. And that is kind of how Nicole has been acting lately. She has been acting more like her sister. Bill tells Nicole that he was hired to clean up the Dupree mess, and says that Nicole's so upset, but she could just join the rest of her family of hypocrites. And I do agree with this. I have all along. I've been saying since the very beginning, when it comes to Vernon and Anita, they love to have this image, but behind the scenes, they're always in some mess, and they're always using other people to fix their messes so that their hands look clean. And I love that Bill is always the one to point this out. I was on Bill's side in this argument. I like that he went on this whole rant of how he was a believer in Vernon too when he first joined the family and married Danny. Thought Vernon was going to be the father he never really had, but then he just became an enabler to Vernon's wrongdoings, and says he's just as disappointed as Nicole is. Then Nicole says to stay away from Martin, to stay away from her entire family. And once again, Nicole looks stupid because Bill rightfully points out that they're always the ones coming to him, which is facts. So, as much as I enjoyed Nicole's line about how she's the fixer now, which is the preview we've seen this line in the preview last week that Nicole was going to be confronting Bill and saying that, and I think Nicole can actually help fix Martin with her, job background as a therapist and all. So I like that line. But Bill, per usual, ate up a Dupree when it comes to their hypocrisy to me. And I enjoyed seeing Bill eat up Nicole. A few more things to talk about. Yesterday's episode, we got more Chelsea and Allison. Madison was listening to them. Allison says that she's been putting up with Craig's abuse for a long time, but tries to bring up his good qualities. Chelsea was trying to help Allison with Craig, but she didn't want Chelsea's help. She started freaking out. I liked when Madison called Allison Chelsea's creepy ex and thought that Allison was making this all up, which I think what a lot of us thought, because Allison has been portrayed as creepy lately and following Chelsea around. It was good to see Madison try and tell Chelsea that. By the end of the episode, Chelsea says that she should leave Craig and get help, but Chelsea's not going to be a part of it anymore, and she should never reach out to Chelsea again. It took a while for Chelsea to get there with Madison's talking to her, but at least she did get there. I expect that Allison will stay creepy and stay coming around Chelsea, though. And then lastly, with today's episode, Naomi finally learned the truth about the Martin stuff. Vernon and Anita told her about that. She warned them that Jacob's been investigating and that the truth might become uncovered thanks to Jacob. So once again, Naomi and Jacob's relationship going to play a part in the whole Dupree drama, where Jacob is going to be the goody two-shoes cop and not want to stick by the family. At least I hope that's the case. And I would like someone in the Duprees needs to stop placating the rest of the family, always trying to cover their shit. It should have been Naomi from the very beginning, with her being a lawyer as well and being married to Jacob. But I need someone to do it. I guess Chelsea is sometimes like that, but I don't think, not really. Chelsea is just portrayed as a little slow sometimes, and not necessarily knowing that her family is shady and pushing back on that. I would love to see Naomi be that person. I don't expect it though, but somebody that needs to be that way, because the Dupree family as a whole, when they get into these storylines, when they have to cover shit up for their facade, it makes the entire family pretty unlikable. And I don't know if that's what the writers are going for, but they have to be because of the way they write everything. I think this show loves to have its gray characters, which I commend. But the problem with making everyone gray is that the family, at least in this case, becomes unlikable. And Vernon is not innocent. I know Vernon tried to tell Naomi it's not just Bill's fault, because Naomi, of course, was upset with her father possibly being involved with somebody dying or being murdered, which rightfully so. Vernon tried to say, I was at fault too because I involved Bill. But Vernon knew what he was getting into. I just don't believe that, because Vernon also knew that Joey was a part of this. He made Joey a part of this. Vernon's not innocent, is all I'm saying, and I wish somebody in the family would push back for once so that the entire family is not unlikable when these situations happen.